This week I investigated OpenAI. Now there's four main suspects in this AI criminal investigation. I'm just going to run them down real quick, but we might trim this out. It's OpenAI has Dolly 2. Midjourney has, I guess it's just called Midjourney. Stable Diffusion has the octopus that it has created called Stable Diffusion. I'm sorry, Stability AI has Stable Diffusion. And then Google has some mystery Imagen that who knows if it's ever going to be let out of the romper room to play, because they no, who knows what's going on there. That's a Frankenstein's monster that we may never actually see. So the first people that I came across in OpenAI are these two twins. And
Not the Winklevoss.
I don't like making fun of people. No, these are not actual twins, but they look so much alike.
Really?
Like, I don't make fun of people. I don't make fun of how people look, but when they look peculiarly alike, like identical.
Well, not only that, but they also have like sort of the same, AI kinks that, you know,
They do. They have similar speech
yeah,
mannerisms. They have
yeah,
similar. All right. So the dude on the right is um, uh, Greg Brockman. The guy on the left is Ilya Sutskever, and Ilya, he's the important one. He invented GTP. So
right,
that's a language model.
right. And it's a pretty good
Okay.
one.
And it's a pretty good one. And we're on GTP 3 now. And again, that's another one of those that, is this out in the wild, or is this just what everybody's raving about who's in the private beta? Now, the guy on the right, Greg, he was Stripe, which was a credit card service for iOS.
Right. They're local
Okay.
in my town,
So,
actually.
so his bona fides are basically putting together a big business with a large database and blah, blah, blah. The other guy's genius is putting together AIs that understand what you're saying. So together, they did Dolly 2, but we're like 6 months into Dolly 2, and it's only just now kind of come out of beta.
Hmm.
And how smart was that they kept it in beta for like as long as they could? Because you know how you filter your own AI art.
Hmm.
I filter my own
Right.
AI art unconsciously. Like, if I don't like it, I just swipe and render again. So the only things that people are seeing are not my mistakes. They're not my terrible things. They're the things I'm proud of, things that excited me. That's what I'm sharing. So as long as Dolly 2 stayed in beta, I think it looked a lot better than it really was, than it really is.
I think
And
these
now that,
models that they're using,
please comment.
like, are, the whole, cloud as a service render per image thing is ridiculous because, if you've used Stable Diffusion, what you know is you go through hundreds of freaking images just to get one that looks right. You
Absolutely,
know,
absolutely. It's a gotcha mechanic. You
it
got to
is.
keep hitting that button until you get the peanut that you're looking for.
Mhm.
So if I was paying for every little transaction, I wouldn't be doing this.
Yeah, me either.
It wouldn't. I don't think I would have the. Uh, you know.
I think part of it is that these guys at like Dolly and Midjourney and the places that want to do it as a service, uh, they don't understand their product. Have you ever get that vibe from these AI guys that like they
Oh
just don't
yes.
get what they're making?
Oh yes. So these guys, I watched some interviews. I was going to pull some clips, but it was hard to stay awake when they talked. They're nice people. I'm not making fun of them. I'm not belittling them. They're nerds.
Right.
So they don't tell great stories, and the things that they're excited about are kind of nerdy stuff. Now, Greg, when he was in an interview, and the interviewer kept trying to prompt him, like, tell us a funny story, tell us a good story,
Hmm.
Give us a talking point. And the best he could come up with was DOTA. Do you know what
Dota.
this is? It's like World of Warcraft as a competition.
I'm
DOTA.
I'm at a loss. I don't know Warcraft terminology.
Okay, so what it was Greg and his little team, they put together a bot and machine learned it on World of Warcraft. And they trained it to fight real humans who were like tournament game players. And their bot won some of these games.
Oh
Not all
wow.
of them, but some of them, you know. So this was like a huge thing that basically, as they build it, AI is competing against humans under its own progress. And they have some of this on the Open AI website where they're talking about like what it was, and they have like little videos of like, you know, it's a video game, and they're like, look, the AI agent learned to chase someone down until they died. You know, it's just World of Warcraft. It's like,
Right.
it's not real. It's not. It's World of Warcraft. There's only so many interactions you can do. But OpenAI is real quick to tell us that this is real world modeling. This is an AI dealing with a real world situation, competing against people. Uh, I'm not sure that World of Warcraft counts as the real world.
Especially, P2P Warcraft, where everybody's fighting rather than doing the role playing thing that like 90% of Warcraft players do.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Like this is one of these things where I'm not like one of these art Karens who's like, don't never tell me how World of Warcraft works, because I'm admitting I don't do it. I don't know. But so this competition was kind of a big thing. I remember when it happened a few years ago, whenever the bot won. All right, so from the start, from the start, Greg has an adversarial position of AI against
Right.
real humans
Yeah.
who do the actual job. That's baked into who he is and how he learned, how he cut his chops on AI. Now, there's another guy, and I've been joking that he's the supervillain, because when you're James Bond and you hit the mid story point, you're just dealing with the underlings,
Right.
the lesser bosses. So that's these two guys. That's Greg and Ilya. They're the lesser bosses. The real boss is someone named Sam Altman. And rich kid extraordinaire. That's the best I can come up with. He BFF with Microsoft. Like, he's where the money came from. He's the actual CEO. And if you watch our last episode, I did a whole thing on do CEOs matter. This is part 2 of that. Do CEOs matter? Now, I just want you to hear a little bit of his interview.
Go for it.
Because he has a pretty different take on what the business model is. So if you can hear it, listen along, and then we'll discuss.
But I think this is going to be a massive trend, and very large businesses will get built with this as the interface, and more generally that like these very powerful models will be one of the genuine new technological platforms, which we haven't really had since mobile. And there's always like an explosion of new companies right after. So that'll be cool.
And what do you think the key things are, given that the large language model we provided as an API service? What are the things that you think that folks who are thinking about these kind of AI businesses should think about as how do you create an enduring, differentiated business?
So, I think there will be a small handful of like fundamental large models out there that other people build on. But right now what happens is, company makes large language model, API, other people build on top of it. And I think there will be a middle layer that becomes really important where I'm like skeptical of all of the startups that are trying to sort of train their own models. I don't think that's going to keep going. But what I think will happen is there will be a whole new set of startups that take an existing very large model of the future and tune it, which is not just fine tuning, like all of the things you can do. I think there will be a lot of access provided to create the model for medicine or using a computer or like the kind of like friend or whatever. And then those those companies will create a lot of enduring value because they will have like a special version of, they won't have to have created the base model, but they will have created something they can use just for themselves or share with others that has this unique data flywheel going that sort of improves over time and all of that. So I think there will be a lot of value created in that middle layer.
Okay, now what I just want to point out that's really different from your idea of everyone creating their own models. He wants to make sure that there's one Uber AI and everybody's buying his. They're plugging into, now maybe there's some nuance that I'm missing, but the difference in what you said with everybody creating their own models and the difference in what he said was everybody's tweaking the one model is that he centered himself and his own company as that one model.
Well, look, I mean, it's every cyberpunk model, or it's every cyberpunk story ever written. You know, you've got big bad AI, you know, and then you've got little hackers with their good little AIs that give them superpowers, and, you know, good cyberpunk, you know, overturns evil corporation, yay capitalism. Here's the thing, you know, he wants AI as a service. He wants to charge you per transaction when he can't even reliably track each transaction. I was telling somebody about this yesterday. You know, Shutterstock claims that their AI generating tool, which is also based on Stable Diffusion, by the way, actually pays artists fairly. But one thing I figured out that Stable Diffusion actually does is like, it doesn't pull just one piece from one artist when you tell it to. It pulls up clouds of similar pieces by unrelated artists. Like, do you remember that one that I showed you, you know, which looked like the Rolf Anderson painting or like any one of a dozen Rolf Anderson paintings. But, you know, the artist that I was trying to emulate was Gail, or not Gail, I've got Gail on the line, was Elfkin, that other guy.
Oh, yeah, Gil Elgin. Yes,
Yeah,
Elgrin.
Gil Elfgren, yeah. But they're such similar art styles, and really, you know, I could totally see how a machine would sort of conflate the two. Yeah, so like, if we were doing it Shutterstock's way, where what they're doing is taking the prompt and taking it apart and paying the artist, no matter what the piece looks like, that's fine, okay? But that is not an accurate way to even talk about the way neural networks work. And there's really no way to track it or guarantee it unless you're really tightly controlling those, you know, what this system's doing. And I just don't think the current generation of tools enables that in any way, shape, or form. Honestly.
Okay, there is some, when I started looking at this OpenAI website and investigating into Sam Altman, there was some like, oh, is this some double speak going on? Or some things just don't quite add up.
But then the big thing that I think people are starting to explore is, I hesitate to use this word because I think there's one way it's used which is fine and one that is more scary, but like AI that can start to be like an AI scientist and self-improve. And so can we automate our own jobs as AI developers the very first thing we do? Can that help us like solve the really hard alignment problems that we don't know how to solve? Like that, honestly, I think is how it's going to happen.
Okay, look out, Greg and Ilya. Sam's already going to replace you with AI. These little art Karens think they're going to be replaced. What? The guy with the master plan is already replacing his own minions with his own construction.
Hey, look, whatever little delusion he wants to live in is fine. You know, AI is a lot closer to replacing technical coders, I think, than it is, you know.
Okay, so
artists or anybody
we didn't talk
else.
about Chat GPT, but I did start playing with Chat GPT last night because you got me into it,
I did.
and I was like, okay, I'm impressed. I wasn't impressed when anybody else did it, but when I did it, I'm convinced. Okay, wait, but he's got more treasures coming up, and then we're almost in the clear.
Okay.
This one, okay.
Do it.
So
Do
here's where
it.
some of the OpenAI double speak starts to make my little warning lights go off.
Yeah, so the alignment problem is like, we're going to make this incredibly powerful system, and
The
like,
alignment
it'd
problem.
be really bad if it doesn't do what we want, or if it sort of has, goals that are either in conflict with ours, and many sci-fi movies about what happens there, or goals where it just like doesn't care about us that much. And so the alignment problem is, how do we build AGI that does what is in the best interest of humanity? How do we make sure that humanity gets to determine the future of humanity? The way that I think the self-improving systems help us is not necessarily by the nature of self-improving, but like, we have some ideas about how to solve the alignment problem at small scale. And we've been able to align OpenAI's biggest models better than we thought we would at this point, so that's good. We have some ideas about what to do next, but we cannot honestly like look anyone in the eye and say, we see out 100 years how we're going to solve this problem. But once the AI is good enough that we can ask it to like, hey, can you help us do alignment research? I think that's going to be a new tool in the toolbox.
Alignment.
Mm-hmm.
Alignment. This is a word.
This is like this is speculative to the point of being nonsense. All of it.
Almost no. Okay, so I went on OpenAI's website. They have a whole page about their alignment research. This one is a treasure. This one
This
is
is funny.
just wow.
Our alignment research aims to make artificial general intelligence, AGI, aligned with human values and follow human intent. We take an iterative, empirical approach. By attempting to align highly capable AI systems, we can learn what works and what doesn't, thus refining our ability to make AI systems safer and more aligned. Using scientific experiments, we study how alignment techniques scale and where they will break. We tackle alignment problems both in our most capable AI systems as well as alignment problems that we expect to encounter on our path to AGI. Our main goal is to push current alignment ideas as far as possible and to understand and document precisely how they can succeed or why they will fail. We believe that even without fundamentally new alignment ideas, we can likely build sufficiently aligned AI systems to substantially advance alignment research itself.
Alignment. What does it even mean?
Well,
that was 6 sentences.
it's like basically what it means
He
is
says
that they're,
alignment
they're
11 times.
they're concerned about accidentally making AIs that are going to take over the world and destroy humanity. Because they've watched way too many sci-fi movies and they don't understand the core fundamentals of the tech they're creating.
But and just exactly, they're like really carefully not saying anything
None of these
particular. And
guys.
just the,
If we're being
I
asked to
got
take this
married.
seriously
I got
at face
married,
value,
but the relationship wasn't aligned. And my wife tried to kill me.
look, here's the thing.
What is it?
They're saying they have to be saying this for public relations reasons. Just because there has been so much anti-AI propaganda from back in the days when it was all speculative tech, that still affects the market and people today. But
What does it even mean?
well, it just means that they don't want robots coming out with their Terminator guns and killing everybody. But
that's not,
obviously, no, duh. That's
I mean,
that's
duh.
not a hard one to not do.
But I was like, this is like when the Smurfs don't know the word for something, and so they just say Smurf.
Oh man, it kind
Our
of
Smurf
is.
Research aims to make artificial general intelligence, AGI, Smurf with human values and follow human intent.
Smurfy.
We take an iterative, empirical approach. By attempting to Smurf highly capable AI systems, we can learn what works and what doesn't, thus refining our ability to make AI systems safer and more Smurfy. Using scientific experiments, we study how Smurf techniques scale and where they will break.
Oh, that's
We
great.
tackle Smurf problems both in our most capable AI systems as well as Smurfy problems that we expect to encounter on our path to AGI. Our main goal is to push current Smurf ideas as far as possible, and to understand and document precisely how they can succeed or why they will fail. We believe that even without fundamentally new Smurfy ideas, we can likely build sufficiently Smurfed AI systems to substantially advance Smurf research itself.
That is so much of an improvement.
And AI wrote this. And AI wrote their whole website. It's just circular nonsense.
And boring too. And they never did a QA on it either. They just put it out.
Oh, they just put it up.
Yeah.
And that's not even, I hope they redo this now that Chat GPT is out, because it could do a better job than that.
Yeah, it could.
Okay, I got just like a couple more quotes from, just one more from him.
Go for it.
And this one is, I'm sorry, this one is just kind of, this one, I get angry when he said this one.
Yeah, like, for example, one of the conversations you and I had is, could we tell the agent, don't be racist, right? And as opposed to trying to figure out all the different things where the weird correlative data that exists on all of the training set and everything else may lead to racist outcomes, it could actually, in fact, do a self-cleansing.
Totally. Once the model gets smart enough that that it really understands what racism looks like and how complex that is, you can say, don't be racist.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't be racist. 2 white guys just solved racism.
Yeah.
They're just going to tell the AI, don't be racist.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Google's been working on this for a decade and they haven't been able to solve it.
What the fuck? Why would he even say that in an interview? That is so patent. Okay, so when I was on Chat GPT last night, and this is my last clip, I asked Chat GPT, which by the way is Open AI. It's all the same thing, same company. I asked Chat GPT, can you just tell the AI not to be racist? And here's what Chat GPT said.
It is naive to believe that simply telling an AI not to be racist will prevent it from exhibiting racist behavior. AI systems are designed and trained by humans, and they can only perform within the constraints of the data and algorithms they are given. If an AI is trained on biased or prejudiced data, it will likely produce biased or prejudiced outputs. Additionally, AI systems are not capable of understanding and interpreting complex social concepts like racism in the same way that humans do. They are not capable of empathy or moral reasoning, and cannot be expected to behave in a socially responsible manner without explicit programming and oversight. To prevent AI systems from exhibiting racist behavior, it is important to carefully design and train them on diverse, representative datasets, and to regularly monitor and test their outputs for bias and fairness. Simply telling an AI not to be racist is not sufficient to address the complex and nuanced issue of bias in AI.
That's great. That was great. So it's like the AI refuting itself, you know?
Exactly. And also saying that what you need to fix this problem is diversity and multiple models, which is the opposite of what he claimed he's going to provide.
Here's the thing.
AI is already smarter than...
What you gotta realize is that CEOs are CEOs because I don't know what makes a CEO, but talent with technology and understanding of technology, and really in this case, even the fundamentals of their own product. You shouldn't assume that any of these guys actually know what they're talking about, ever. ever. It's like
Wow,
asking
he does
Elon
not sound
Musk,
like he knows what he's
right,
talking
about like, the internal processes of a Tesla engine.
A combustion engine. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
He couldn't do it.
That's why he
could
says
not
things
do
like,
it.
"Oh, we'll have self-driving cars in 2 minutes,"
Yeah.
and then like 3 years later, everybody's like, "Did you know what you were talking about?
Or
was
we're
that
going to
a
be on
lie?"
Mars by 2020. I'm still waiting for my fucking tickets, by the way.
I'm there now. Just what the hell?
Yeah.
These people are grifters. They're pathological liars. Do CEOs matter?
Well, they only matter because they
You
have
know-
money and power. But if they didn't have money or power, we'd write them off as the crazy, delusional idiots they are. I mean, that's the bottom line.
Yeah. My takeaway from all of what OpenAI, my takeaway is that they wanted a whale. They weren't looking for customers. Like Midjourney, they hustle for customers. Okay, they earned everybody who's sitting on that chat Discord. They earned them, and it's a little bit of a cult. We'll do that one next week. But OpenAI, they wanted a whale, and that whale was Microsoft, and they got it. Microsoft gave them $1 billion in seed funding, and now OpenAI is exclusively partnering with Microsoft. So, everybody was like, oh, they used to be open source, but now they're for profit. It was more calculated than that. And they cashed in to the tune of $1 billion. So I got no sympathy for Ilya and Greg when the AI comes and bumps them off, takes their job, and it's just Sam up there alone in the tower.
Yes, with the wise, godly computer. Doesn't all of this sort of like have sort of a Tower of Babel sort of feel to it? Like,
Ooh, nice
like
one.
these CEOs are just building their towers to replace God or be God. I mean, there's definitely this weird quasi-spiritual bent to the language and those communication styles of some of these people, and that never ends well. It just never does.
Well, like, I couldn't play that whole Sam Altman interview, but he keeps coming back to biomedicine. He wants a biomedicine company that's run by AI. Like medicine works now,
Right.
not run by people, and he wants it run by AI. But the way he says it is not that it's going to be a benefit for humankind. It's that's going to be a moneymaker,
Right.
and that's a huge growth opportunity. It's just business. People who are actual human flesh, those are the tokens. And he's going to spend you to get his way to artificial general intelligence, the one true monotheistic AI.
Yeah. Okay.